Hello, my sexy muffins, and welcome back to a bonus video. Why is this a bonus video? Because it's not even a yandere video. It's a video that is a theory video that is dissecting the possible mental illness of Keigaku. I don't know how to say his name. The Keigaku, let's see his name. Keigaku? Keigaku. We'll go with Keigaku from Demon Slayer Infinity Arc who fights against Senzetsu. So let's get on to the disclaimers and then this theory video of why he possibly has mental illness. Let's do this. Disclaimer, first off, I am not a doctor, but someone who suffers from possibly the similar mental illnesses that Keigaku has. This is just what I see similarities between my mental illness and what possible mental illness he has. Thank you. Spoilers for disclaimer. Spoilers for Infinity Castle and manga spoilers ahead. Please proceed with caution. Disclaimer, this is just a theory thing in which I show the comparisons that have that he has possible that he could have possible mental illness, and it is not confirmed to be canon. This is just for fun and not to be taken seriously at all. Simping for fictional characters and yandere is fine. Just do not be illegal or gross about it. You know who you are, you dirty flaky biscuits. Also remember to separate fiction from reality and headcanon from canon. Thank you. Once again, this is not confirmed and just my thoughts on what could be possible. Thank you. Now, let's do this. As someone who suffers from similar things that Keigaku shows, I can say with certainty that he would most likely possibly have at least one mental illness, which I will say in this video. Reasons this is the case, he shows in his flashbacks with Zensetsu and all that, and also his childhood of drinking out of mud puddles in the manga, but never any flashbacks with his parents. And if I remember, and if he remembers his parents from his childhood, you think that there would be flashbacks of them in the manga, meaning Keigaku was homeless as a very small child, maybe before he could even remember his parents. Keigaku was probably born in the late 1900s to maybe the 1910s, like 1900 or 1910s. This also is in Japan, so it would look really down upon with mental illness and stuff and being homeless and such. My theory is that he suffers from bipolar, not sorry, wrong, my brain's autofilling, borderline personality disorder or BPD. Yes, borderline personality disorder is genetic, but can also come from environmental factors such as childhood trauma, such as physical or adult stuff, and emotional harm, and is a significant risk factor of people to develop BPD. Also, neglect, inconsistent parenting, and peer rejection can also contribute. Stressful life events such as loss and loss or separation can trigger BPD symptoms as well. Now look at Keigaku. He has flashbacks of drinking from puddles and being an outcast in society. And in the manga, he stole things for or stole money to have so that he could get food for him and the other orphans. And the orphans rejected him and looked down on him because of him stealing that, and that it wasn't the right thing to do, but they were like starving. And that was like the sorry, my brain just splits, the peer rejection he was getting from the other orphans when he was like trying to do a good thing. And also he had lost his parents, and there was no one to parent him, which causes a lot of issue. Also, being homeless at a very young age is the childhood trauma, and also possible physical abuse he had from people around this time because he was looked down on. The neglect of being homeless, the inconsistent parenting, stressful life events of just being in the world of Demon Slayer and demons and such, but also of just being homeless and not knowing when his next meal is going to come. These are all factors that could have given him BPD. Also, you don't go from being a small child living on the streets to being someone who is fully mentally functional. he would have at least some issues from what happened in his childhood. Think of it like this: the brain is developing for 25 years. If you go through trauma or harm repeatedly in your younger years, for those very early years, you're going to come up a little bit of fricked up. Now, why do I think it is specifically borderline personality disorder he could have? He might not have it, but there are a few things that are warning signs that he could. Unstable and intense relationships that alternate between idolization and devaluation. His relations, his relationship with the former Thunder Hashira, difficulty controlling anger and lead into outbursts and fights. His relationship with Zenzetsu. Black and white thinking, viewing people or situations as all good or all bad. His whole thing, which is in the Infinity Castle and manga, where he values people who value him, and that means they are good, and the ones that do not value him are the ones that are bad. The very black and white view of that. That is a big one right there. Difficulty with identity and sense of self. He had this whole view that he was going to be the next successor to Thunder Breathe, and it was questioned when Zenzetsu came in, and he had the whole issue with his sense of self of being the next one because he couldn't master first form, the first form of Thunder Breathing, which caused him to have self-image issues of his sense of self of being the next successor. And that's what he put his whole life into, which identified who he was as a person. The next two are a bit specific, but do happen a lot with people who have BPD. It is their way or the highway. Well, the next three, I think there's three. One sec. The next few we'll go with. In the flash, it is their way or the highway. In the flashbacks, he is shown that if it is not going his way, he takes it rather poorly, and it is nothing, and he wants nothing to do with the person or persons who are challenging him on that. Taking things extremely personally. This is from having this is shown when he is with the Thunder Hashira and Zensetsu, and the Thunder Hashira says that Zensetsu would be the co-successor with him. See, he takes the whole Zensetsu being trained as a personal offense and Zensetsu as a personal offense himself. Every time the master showed attention to Zensetsu, for example, given the match in Haori's, he never wore his, but he got his first and was so happy to have it. But when Zensetsu got his yellow one, he was so offended, and it did not go well. It was like a personal attack. Even when he was being unalived by Zensetsu, he thinks the new thunder breathing form that Zensetsu made, was actually a form that their master made that he never shared with him and only shared with Zensetsu. And that is why the Thunder Hashira favored him more. In Keigaku's words, that was in Keigaku's words, and this all was taken as personal offense. Like the whole being as co-successors was a huge personal offense, which he took so personally, like a personal attacks against who he was as a person. And last one. Thinking of oneself slash he's always right, have to have it their way. Now, this one is a bit of a stretch, but a lot of people with BPD struggle with this, where they have to feel that they are always right and have it the last say and have it their way. This is somewhat shown in how he lives his life, but also how he became a demon and how he viewed his master and people around him. For example, it is like when they lose when people with BPD have to have it their way no matter what. It's like they don't get to go to the restaurant they want, but they wanted to go, but it was someone else's turn to choose. They throw a whole tantrum and just lose their absolute poo. That's an example of it. But also another example is always have the last say. They always have to have the last say, and you can probably see this with people who do have borderline personality disorders, where it's like they always have to have the last say, even if it's just something petty and it just gets out of hand. These are small things, and also that thinking of himself is what is the big part of this section, really, because he thinks of himself, which is against the views of this time. It was like, think of like what is respectful, what is good for, like, I hate to use the word honorable because I know there's a better word for it, but what is the right thing to do and all that stuff, instead of thinking of oneself. And he thought of himself always like, how can I get to the next day? How can I survive? Which could be trauma effects, but also could be borderline personality disorder. Like I said, this third one is a bit of a stretch. All in all, it appears that he has at least one type of or some type of mental illness, which also affects how I will write him because he clearly has some issues. It's not even just because he's an evil guy. He is evil. Yes, I wish people would just look into his character and background more and realize that there was elemental factors and also childhood trauma that he went through before he betrayed Gome and all that stuff. Like, there was stuff in the manga that showed that he probably had a rough childhood. Does it make what he does right? No, he's a piece of poo, absolutely. He is not evil. I mean, he is evil. He is evil, but there is mental illness of why he became that way. And if he was born in modern day, like if Demon Slayer took in place in modern day, he could have gotten the help to prevent getting borderline personality disorder by being in a proper system where he could have flourished. But also, if he did still get it, he could have gotten the medical attention he needed to prevent going down the wrong path. Again, the past frickin' sucked. All that. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed this. If you would like to see me do deep dives of other characters' stuff and possible mental illness, comment it below what characters you want me to see. And I will do my best, like even a reaction character of like learning who they are, watching stuff on them. Comment which ones you would like to see below. I hope that you all enjoyed this. And if you would like to see more, comment below what you would like to see. And I'll do my best to do it and all that good stuff. And stay sexy on my sexy muffins. Bye bye. Secret outro time, secret outro time, secret outro time, secret outro baseball bat. Welcome to the secret outro, and the secret outro question of the day is: do you think he has a mental illness, or is he just a piece of poo? Comment it below. I honestly think he does have a mental illness, at the very least, most likely borderline personality disorder, if he does have one. Remember, I do not, this is not canon, and this is just for fun, not to be taken seriously at all. Thank you, and stay sexy on my sexy muffins. Bye bye.